Well, the white Arctic Cat definitely sustained quite a bit of damage on the last video up at Priest Lake. Most of the damage that we have to deal with is the expansion chamber here. First thing we gotta do is we just gotta get it out of here. I gotta take the O2 sensor out, which is really awesome. It's actually going to make this a lot easier. I'll be able to feed compressed air into that. Need to take all the springs off, actually get it out of there, and then I can start preparing the edges for the plates that we're going to be making so that I can close up the expansion chamber. This is going to be an interesting little science project. I'm pretty excited to see if it works. It's kind of an odd bend because it happened down in the narrow spot. We have a total of 2, 6, 7 springs and a hose clamp, and we got to take this O2 sensor out. Marvel, do you want to hop down? We'll go check it out. Yeah, we got lots of cool stuff here, dude. We got to get these springs off, so let's start dropping those. There we go. Oh man, it smells so good. It smells like two-stroke exhaust. I'm gonna bring this over to the fabrication table and we can take a look at flattening out this edge. Here we have the expansion chamber, and I got the small side of the gasket off here. This thing is totally busted up. It pushed all the wire kind of out to the side, and that's because I had to kick it back into place. When I crashed into the tree, the metal twisting here pulled it out of the socket because it had more vise on the lower end. That ended up pulling that completely out, and it was dumping exhaust into my engine bay, and I didn't want that, so pushed it back in, but that destroyed the gasket. But as for the real damage to it, we have a massive twisted dent on this side, and my plan of attack is we need to plug up both ends, and then I can use the O2 sensor bung port to feed air pressure into using just a compressor hose and some sort of connector. I have not yet located a connector that fits, but that's because I haven't checked yet. Might be easy, might not be. Then I need to apply heat. I'm assuming the map torch will be able to get me to that amount. If not, I can hook up the acetylene setup. I just haven't used it yet. Now, before I do any of that, plugging these holes is going to be the hardest part. I have to make some plates that will go behind these flanges, and that will allow me to bolt another plate over the top, and then I'll just have some sort of gasket material between the top plate and the actual exhaust itself. And then I'll have to do the same on this side. I'm gonna have to, make them different sizes for either side. My first objective is, just going to be measuring out these sides. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna try and flatten out that edge. I really think it's just this one lip here. And I don't see how it would be bad taking it off at all. And then this whole thing would be perfectly flat and be really easy to apply this method to. On this side, I'm gonna wanna make something that is 1 3/4 inches, right on there, or flip that around. And then this side, 2 3/4. 1 3/4, 2 3/4. I actually don't need to measure anything. There we go. That's about the diameter I need. Plus a little. Do another 1/2 inch out the other side. Yep. Perfect. There's the two that go around the exhaust pipe, and I'm about to cut off the top plate. Okay, let's get these ones cut out too. Oh, I totally forgot to chop this one in half. Duh. Okie dokie, now that I have these two pieces cut out, they fit very nicely right over that. And this is the same diameter, top and bottom. Now I need to tie them together on either side. And how I think I'm gonna do that is, oh, try not to stab myself. I'll use these little tubes. So I'll weld this one on right there on the end and this one right there. And then I can just run a bolt through it and squeeze it together. And then I'll be able to run the studs that go up to the actual plate that'll go on it. We'll just be able to stick a bolt straight through there to clamp that on behind the flange. And then in the corners here, you can see I've got dots. And that's where I will be drilling holes where the smaller hardware will go up and actually fasten to the plate that plugs up the exit here. Alrighty, we got both the brackets done, and this is the perfect threading just to fit onto a compressor thing. So I took the end that, you know, we normally use on tires off of this, and I'll be able to adjust it to how much PSI I want in there, along with adjusting the feed on the machine. I still need to drill holes in these plates, and we'll have to go to the store and get hardware for them because I need bolts that go through and the vertical bolts. Alrighty, now that we have all of our brackets cut out and put together, we just about have all the ingredients to finally make this thing pop. I went to the store and I got all the hardware that I needed. I was looking around for some sort of like rubber that I could use for a gasket. I found some washers that would have been big enough for the small side, but I reckon I'm gonna try using leather. So I'm just gonna clamp the leather between this, and leather is a bit porous, so just to make sure it's extra good, I think I'm gonna actually put grease over this, non-flammable grease, which might end up protecting the leather as well if it gets hot on this side. Worst case scenario, I think I'll need like 70 PSI, but I don't think we'll have to get to that. It's a pretty small dent, all things considered. But yeah, I'm interested to see how the leather works as a gasket, but that's not the last challenge that I have. There is this little nub still. So I'm going to secure this down somehow at an angle where I can flatten that. I just want to make sure that this whole surface here is somewhat flat, because right now it has big gaps. Alrighty, well, this is pretty exciting. It's finally time to do some assembly. Let's start with the small side. So I have my cover plate, but we don't really need those yet. We just need to attach our lower clamps. And I am going to do that on this top one. So these sides go together like that, and I want them to be that way. So this will just clamp right on there like that. Toss a bolt through that side. Boom. Just like that. And we're just gonna have to get both these sides on real quick. Let's toss these on there. So this will go right around here. Okay. I've got my little gasket here, and I cut it out so it fits a little bit better, and we'll let the screws go by easier. First, I want to put a little bit of grease on it. And then actually, let's let this sit on top just so that that doesn't move anywhere. I think the easiest way to do this is just have this kind of sit in between all those right there. And we can plug this puppy back in. I just need to go grab the air hose. Okay, I can hear like the tiniest bit trying to leak out on the small side, but it stopped. I assume the grease went and filled whatever hole was there. Okay, let's give it a little bit more. Whoa, guys, that's crazy. I can already see this starting to move up. Oh no. This is what I was afraid of. There's a hole right here where it pinched. Good news about this hole is it actually is above the weld. It's not on the weld. I think we're ready to actually start doing some heated treatment. So I'm just going to slowly add PSI as we go. Losing that air right there has me a little bit concerned. Before we do anything, I'm gonna grab a light and I'm going to inspect that further. We might have to end up welding that shut, which I almost have this machine hooked up for stainless TIG, so we might just be able to do that. Okay, right here, I don't know if you guys can entirely see it, but we've got this little crack that goes right there. And then on top, we have this big crack right there. I've cleaned up the metal around them pretty good, and I borrowed the TIG torch for the MP210, and I already have a gas bottle because I was planning to do this anyways. I've got one on order, but thankfully he was able to let me borrow his, and we can use that for today. So I just got everything hooked up, tungsten sharpened, gas is on and adjusted, and I've got the manual gas handle right here. Get those two welded up, and then we'll be able to put some more pressure in there. Now, I didn't actually get a ton of footage of the welding process because I made an absolute disaster of it. This expansion chamber is not stainless steel, it's mild steel, and I was using stainless filler. I also had the leads hooked up wrong at first, so I kept sucking up material onto my tungsten, and I eventually got it closed up, but most certainly not good looking. Yeah. Okay, well, that went miserably, but I think I've expanded it enough. I could not get this metal to mix. I think this might be mild steel, but we gained some volume back. We have gotten rid of a lot of that indentation. It's not, you know, caved in and flat anymore. So that is really good. We just want to increase that airflow, make sure that the expansion chamber is doing what it needs to do. And I think we're just about to that point. It's really disappointing how terribly that did go, actually, but better than not having an expansion chamber. Well, that certainly looks better, and I sure hope that it performs a little bit better. Honestly, I didn't feel a whole lot of power loss when I was up on the mountain with this thing, and it was like completely collapsed in on itself. And I've got it, you know, back into just about its original shape. It's still twisted a little bit up here at the nose. It's a lot better than it was when it was crumpled, and it doesn't have all the rust anymore, which is really nice. Sanded that down. So lastly, before the trip, I just need to get the springs back on the exhaust, and I need to put the windshield back on. Oh my goodness, so glad to have that back on. I did not like how the sled looked with out the windscreen. If I could get like a small kind of crown windscreen that wasn't so tall so it wouldn't come off when it rolled over, it would be great. If it just went up to like the height of the dash, which is right about here, that would be perfect. And with the new exhaust on, I say we give her a little start real quick here. Oh, it's much better. Not as loud anymore. And of course, tomorrow on the mountain, I want to cook some food in the muff pot. So I got to get that mounted. I've got the mounting bracket and the hose clamp right here. I think it'll fit best right around here, really as high as I can get it before that goes in the way of the plastic there. So, and I'm excited to use this more. I think I might try and do soup tomorrow somehow. I don't know how I'm going to seal it, but I want to do some sort of soup in this thing. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, leave me a like and subscribe to the channel. I've got some more videos coming out. The sled is now obviously in good running condition, and we've made some adventures up to Priest and Mount Spokane. Super excited to show you guys what we've done. See you in the next one.